I'm going to spend the next 10 years at Bayer Leverkusen as their new manager. And I have 4 challenges that I need to complete. I need to achieve a domestic double by winning the Bundesliga and the DFB Pokal. I also need to win a European trophy of any kind. Something which they've only done once, back in 1988. I have also got to have a player who wins the Ballon d'Or. And finally, I've got to sell a player for over £100 million. And the pressure is really on because Xabi Alonso has been amazing as Bayer Leverkusen manager, winning the Bundesliga for the very first ever time. And at this point, they still haven't even lost a game all season, which I highly doubt I could replicate. This team's good, but it still needs a lot of work to do that sort of miracle season. But hey, I'm here for 10 years. Let's crack on with season number 1. First things first, the players in this team really suit a through at the back formation, as there are some fantastic centre-back options as well as 2 very good wing-backs, but a right winger in Hoffman, which means it's gonna look a bit weird to begin with. My star man is 20-year-old Florian Wirtz, who has the potential to be a megastar for us. Potentially a Ballon d'Or winner, or potentially a player that we could sell for over £100 million. But I don't want to think about that just yet, and I finished the rest of the tactical shape and we are pretty much stuck with this team as we got no transfer budget. We did unfortunately lose the first game of the season to Leipzig, but we were off to the races soon after with a win over Gladbach away from home. In January, we lost Frimpong to Arsenal because of a release clause to clubs in the Champions League. But we've got that money to buy a replacement, which is a shame as we were doing well so far this season. It's obviously a real bummer losing one of our best players in Frimpong because we didn't get a lot of money to replace him with somebody as good. We've got Victor Gomez from Braga. He's the same age. He's Spanish. Maybe he's not as quick, but hey, we're just going to have to deal with it and push on through for the rest of the season because we're currently in 3rd place. We're just above Dortmund. We've qualified for the next round of the Champions League and we're still in the Cup. We can still even put off a treble. I spoke too soon though, as we were eliminated by Dusseldorf in the DFB Pokal in the next round 2-1. And 4th place is all we could accomplish in the Bundesliga, with Bayern Munich winning it yet again. There is some good news though, because despite this bad season, we have reached the Europa League final and have only got to beat Roma to accomplish one of our challenges already in season number 1. Before the European Cup final began, I did get a bit distracted by a game on my mobile phone, and I used to think this was a generic mobile game until I gave it a shot by possibly joining my new Omega Club clan on Raid, because there are a lot of misconceptions about Raid that I was proved wrong with. It has incredible depth and is super strategic and challenging. Not to mention there's an auto battle feature which saves you a lot of time. And like anything in life, paying for stuff does obviously help, but there are so many free-to-play endgame users in Raid. So if you fancy it, if you use my link at the top of the description or in the pinned comments, and it's my unique link only, you get a free legendary plus 2 strong epic heroes. And now might be the perfect time to join Raid, because right now is the Spring Hunt mini-game where players need to find hidden items around the Mistwood, with a chance to win real-life prizes including a gaming console or Amazon gift cards for a total of $10,000. You just need to download Raid using my link or scan my QR code, and then you head to springhunt.polarium.com and enter your Raid ID to start the search. And this is the first time that Raid is giving away real-life prizes, and they're pretty good. So once again, if you scan my QR code on screen or now use my link at the top of the description or in the pinned comments, you will immediately get a huge starter pack with an epic champion from the High Elves faction. And once you hit level 25, you'll get another pack that includes an epic Rector Draft, which you'll definitely want in your collection. Don't forget though that all of these champions are available after you download via my custom link or using my QR code. If you go directly to the app stores and download the game from there, you won't get these packages, which you definitely need to add to your Raid team. However, using the promo code SPRINGHUNT24, you get silver and even more, and that's available for new and existing players. But make sure you come and find me under the name Omega Luke and join the Omega Club clan, and let's be legends together. Use my link at the top of the description or at the top of the pinned comments, and I'll see you on the battlefield. And so the stage was set against De Rossi's Roma side. We had a couple of injuries, including our top scorer Victor Boniface, who broke his ankle on international duty, but this is a very strong Roma team to come up against, with Lukaku, Dybala and Pellegrini being big threats. But would you believe it? Our new right back scored for us within 6 minutes too. But then Roma came back in the second half and Renato Sanchez scored a great goal, taking the game to a penalty shootout where Hradecky saved the Roma's fourth penalty, and Bayer Leverkusen are Europa League champions. And it's the captain Hradecky who is the hero, saving 2 penalties in the shootout, who lifts the trophy, completing a challenge for us in Season 1. That is not a bad start to the video whatsoever. My only concern is that our top scorer this season is Victor Boniface. He got 11 goals. We really need to start finding some more goals from somewhere, and I think possibly a change of tactic might be needed. So I had to change it to 2 up top to try and score more goals next season. And I've also strengthened the strike force by bringing in Guirassy from our rival Stuttgart for £17.75 million. He scored 21 goals last season in just 29 games. We could do with that. I've also brought in Zaferes for £11.25 million. The Norwegian midfielder fills a couple of roles, but I'm thinking as more of a backup for that DM right now, and he's got good potential as well. But we don't have any more transfer money unless we try to sell a player. There's a few on the transfer market like Jonas Hoffmann, just can't get rid of them. Huge result at the start of the season as we beat Real Madrid in the UEFA Super Cup. And the goals that we missed last season just kept coming in our new system, including 8 goals in 2 games against Dortmund, beating them in the league and knocking them out of the DFB Pokal. But the domestic double is already over in the next round as we lost to Freiburg. We are doing alright in the league though, chasing Leipzig as Bayern have sunk all the way down to 6th place so far. And we smashed them in the next fixture 4-3. And after a few other results go our way, we sit top going into the new year on goal difference. No European trophy this season as Benfica unfortunately knock us out of the competition. But with just 3 games left, it's in our hands to lift the Bundesliga. But of course, the game after is a 2-0 loss to Bayern Munich. And we also drew on the final day of the season. And that meant that Bayern Munich claimed the title and we lost by a single point. If we had just won that final game against Cologne, we would be lifting the Bundesliga trophy right now. It was literally in our hands so many times. But Bayer Leverkusen threw it away on that final day of the season. I'm devastated. We are going to need some serious luck in season number 3 if we want to complete one of our challenges, but I'm also going to need you to subscribe. Let's get ourselves to 150,000 subscribers, shall we? We kick things off in season 3, bringing in a free transfer from Anderlecht in De Bast, who will give us more depth at centre-back. Look who's returned into a Bayer Leverkusen shirt. Jeremy Frimpong is back. We signed him for £2 million, or £1.5 million more than what we sold him to Arsenal, but he never played any games and he was unhappy there. He wanted to leave. I brought him back because he's better than our right back that we replaced him with. He's not the only new guy in the door though, as we brought in Nijpan, the 18-year-old Norwegian from Rosenborg, for just £7 million. He's almost first team ready, very strong with both feet, can play in that centre midfield spot. And it means I'm going to have to change the tactic around so he gets some game time. My final signing is Udreogo, who is £9 million from Schalke. That's an absolute steal. The young German is kind of like a backup option for Florian Wirtz in that centre attacking midfield spot, or in the centre midfield spot, because we now have one. I've moved the Granit Xhaka position up into a deep line playmaker on support, and that allows us to play Nijpan or Udreogo if we need some squad depth in our squad. On the outs, we sold £35 million worth of players, which was mainly created by Jonathan Tah going to Atletico Madrid. The new tactics seem to be working as we beat Leipzig on the opening day of the season 2-1. Again though, it's no domestic double as Magdeburg knocked us out of the cup in just the 3rd round. Bayern are top at New Year, but we are just 4 points behind them. But a shock loss in the second leg of the round of 16 in the Champions League ended our European hopes. And a mistake against Bayern Munich near the end of the season pulled the curtains down on our title dreams. And Bayern Munich win the league by 9 points eventually. I think going into season number 4, we need to ditch the 3 at the back formation. I don't really like them. I started the summer bringing in a new star striker in Victor Gyökeres. The Swede is a monster of a player and costs us exactly £50 million. However, we are about to complete one of our challenges. £100 million transfer. That's right, we had a bid for Florian Wirtz from Real Madrid for a whopping £158 million total, which I simply could not turn down, so I accepted the bid. Because after all, it is another challenge of ours complete. and I had my eyes set on a replacement for a fraction of the cost in Profundi. Playing at Udinese in Italy, he is absolute mustard and will cost just £63 million thanks to a release clause. We also sold a few more players, including Nathan Teller and Granit Xhaka, which allowed us to bring in Swedberg as another young midfielder with a lot of promise, and 2 new-gen youngsters that we can afford to take a gamble on for the future, who we might see pop up later on. We have also changed our formation to a narrow diamond shape, as we have a number of fantastic midfielders. Our best 11 looks a lot stronger as a whole now. Although Udriogo is out on loan, we have Swedberg to fill in that Mazzala position. And the change looks promising, as we beat Bayern Munich 1-0 in Munich at the start of the season. And what a season it was for Bayer Leverkusen, but do we complete another challenge? Well guys, we finally won the DFB Pokal. Actually got to the final instead of being knocked out in the 3rd round or something like we have been previously. We knocked out Dortmund in the semi-final as well, so we had a bit of a difficult route. And Leipzig in the quarter-final, only overcoming them on penalties, which is when Bayern Munich was knocked out as well. But despite having 2 of the 3 top scorers in the Bundesliga, as well as the 2 highest average ratings, the most player of the matches, and the 2nd highest clean sheets, Bayern Munich still lifted the title. They only lost 4 games. We lost 6, including a game to Bayern Munich. Unfortunately, our run at the end of the season was fantastic, but there was a little patchy spot just before that really did cost us, including a big loss to Leipzig. We actually got knocked out of the Champions League as well in this area. So, unfortunately, that has cost us the domestic double. But it's a great starting point for us to kick on to season number 5 because of that DFB Pokal winner. Also, a few of you observant viewers might have noticed I've changed clothes and I've got a bit of a tan going on. That's because I had wrestling on the weekend. Look what I won. The tag titles is back. And I think we need to put it on the shelf again, don't you think? Back where it belongs. Of course, if you want to watch some of my wrestling, let me know. I run my own company, TCW, down in Plymouth. You can come watch a show or 2. As we go into season number 5, my midfielder's looking incredible with all the starting players developing well, and I'm struggling to see how we improve it. Both our strikers scored a good amount of goals too, but we need to think about who we could potentially be our Ballon d'Or winner, because we aren't even close to that yet. We do say goodbye to Patrick Schick, who leaves for £22 million, which now gives us a healthy budget this summer of £75 million. We also have bids coming in for Frimpong again at a much higher price than what we lost him for the first time, but I still want more, and neither club are willing to meet that expectation. A bid come in for Grimaldo though at left back, and with a year left on his deal at age 31, £47 million seems to be a good offer to accept. And that's also because I found a quality replacement in the German left back Nathaniel Brown, who's at Frankfurt for £35 million. But our big signing of the summer is Ilya Zabani from Bournemouth, who should slot into our back 4 instantly and improve us. But annoyingly, our 2 midfielders were stolen from us because of annoying release clauses. Although this will cost us big time, but I think we've replaced quite well with Noah Darvic coming in for £26.5 million. This is a bit of a bargain if you ask me, because he's only 20, he's German as well, and he has a lot of potential. He's only 2.5 stars right now. I still think he looks really good. Tries killer balls often, plays naturally in the 2 positions that we are lacking right now. But Arda Güler for £102 million might be expensive, but I'm buying him out of Real Madrid, and that's the main thing. He's 22 years of age. He already looks phenomenal. His only weakness is really his pace. But technically, he is very gifted, and I'd like to think he could be a good replacement for Profundi, who obviously was the replacement for Florian Wirtz. What hurt us most is Profundi scoring against us in the Super Cup, but let's see how Season 5 treats us. Well, unfortunately, thanks to some terrible penalties, we were knocked out of the DFB Pokal in the quarterfinals. And thanks to a missed penalty in the 90 minutes of the second leg, as well as 2 in a shootout, Spurs knock us out of the Champions League quarters. But this team is still young and learning, and losses like this against Union Berlin on the second to last game of the season could cost us the title, as Bayern stretched their lead out by 2 more. And yeah, it's just typical it cost us, because on the final day of the season, it looks like Bayern Munich actually dropped points. They drew to Cologne, and that meant that we could not win the Bundesliga, and they win it once again. We were just a point away. That win, or that draw against Union Berlin, has cost us. But never mind, on to next season. We've got a good amount of goals, but maybe not as many as I'd hoped for. And there's some clubs that are interested in our players with whopping transfer values now, including £78 million in the transfer budget. This summer could be a crucial one because I really want a Bundesliga. Xabi Alonso's won one already. I need one in my trophy cabinet to look at. Season 6 started with plans of a brand new stadium to be built. There's a lack of goalkeeper options, but I've brought in Bart Verbruggen to give us a different approach in goal. I have decided to cash in on Palacios for £50 million because I found a great replacement that I can get with the same amount of money in a 20-year-old German midfielder from FC Cologne. I was happy to sell Guirassy at age 32 in his last year of his contract as well because I have a young striker called Fred Kalala who just come through the youth academy and did great on his loan spell last season, scoring 14 goals. Now for the rest of the window, we brought in some squad player depth because we desperately needed it, to be honest. We've got a left back here, quite a young one, who's German from Schalke. We've got Vinicius Tobias, who's going to fill in at right back, only 24 as well. Got him for £20 million. And then £13 million for a backup striker, so it gives us two other options to come off the bench up front. And that now gives us a good squad, and we're going to go into this season still playing the narrow diamond, but I think our team is looking absolutely fantastic, especially again in that midfield role. Silla goes straight into the lineup as well, which I'm happy to see, so I wonder how we're going to get on this season. Well, it's another year without being able to win the Ballon d'Or as Phil Foden picks up this year's award. And his Man City side knocked us out the Champions League semi-final, coming from behind to beat us 5-4 on aggregate in the second leg. But it was another DFB Pokal final where we had to come from behind against Wolfsburg to equalise, sending the game into extra time where Tapsoba picked up the winner. However, Dortmund won the Bundesliga this year as we drop all the way down to 4th place. Which means in season number 6 we failed to complete the domestic double challenge. We got the cup one, but we still haven't managed to pick up a Bundesliga yet. That's quite worrying. It might have something to do with the fact that both of our strikers can't really score enough goals, so we might have to reconsider that going into season number 7. We're given £71 million to spend in the next window, and we have a new player coming in from Wolves, Joe Gomez. Big transfer plans for the summer as we accept a huge offer from Chelsea for Gyökeres, who's 31 now, for £89 million. And we've already agreed to sell Casuno as well, but I've already sorted a replacement. He cost a good chunk of cash, but French defender Loic Salvi is a player who looks incredible for just 19 years old. The Gyökeres striker replacement is Jack Hawke from Burnley, who isn't as good, but could become better in the future, and scored 17 Premier League goals last year for Burnley. But then I also brought in another striker who I may send out on loan unless I change formation from Gladbach for £40 million. I am also sticking with a narrow diamond formation. I know obviously it hasn't brought us the best of success, but my aim is to win the Bundesliga this season. Obviously, for the challenge perspective, we need a domestic double. We've won the cup, we just need to get the league done now. And if we just win the league this season, I'll know that this tactic is the right way to go, and we just need some luck of the cups. By the way, we got a bit of injury crisis at the start of the season. It's just lucky we got a lot of squad depth. The Ballon d'Or was won by another Manchester City player this year in Erling Haaland. And Bayern Munich knocked us out of the Champions League round of 16 and have made it all the way to the final against Manchester City. We also crashed out of the second round of the DFB Pokal against Dortmund 1-0. But guess what we did do? We received a big bid for Victor Boniface at £59 million, which isn't bad for a player who got very little game time last season, so it makes sense just to accept the offer. And my number one target for this summer is Jurel Hato at Ajax, who can play both centre-back and left-back naturally and will cost nearly £100 million. I also sold Tapsoba because of this for £20 million and Swedberg for £35 million, which has given us a bit of a transfer budget left to spend. I then brought in a Danish 19-year-old attacking midfielder with the cash left. However, I'm not sure how much game time he will get with two others ahead of him right now for that spot, so a loan deal might happen. Kylian Mbappe is back winning the Ballon d'Or this year, so it's another missed opportunity for that challenge. So our focus shifts on the other challenge of winning a domestic double. Some bad news is that we lost our defensive midfielder Valon Sila in January to Real Madrid for £100 million. And that's a challenge we've already completed. We don't need to keep doing that. Manchester City knocked us out of the Champions League in the round of 16. But once again, the Bundesliga was easy. We won it. 79 points, we still got 3 games left to play. So how close are we to a domestic double? We're also in the final, and the finalist is against Magdeburg, who are in Division 2. This should be the domestic double challenge complete. But Magdeburg had other plans, and after going 1-0 up and 2-1 up, they scored a third to win 3-2 in the 94th minute. I don't know what to say. It would never be easier for us to win the domestic double. We clearly just trounced the league by a mile. We ended up winning it by 15 points, and we play against a team in the league below in the DFB Pokal final, and we can't even win that game. They went in the lead twice. I don't understand how we've managed to flump that. That's awful from us. Kicking off season number 9, we opened up the new stadium, which had a lot smaller capacity than I expected it to be. Once again, I only had eyes for one player this summer, and that was Hamad Al Mohammed, who is a Saudi Arabian striker at Dortmund, who I'm hoping can bring us some more goals. I've also been shocked to see the development of Ronio, a Brazilian midfielder we brought in a few seasons ago, who can fill in that Silla hole left in January for this season. What was really annoying is that we played Magdeburg again in the Super Cup and absolutely smashed them. At the end of the day, they cost us completing one of the challenges, and now we go into season number 9 with just 2 seasons left with 2 challenges to go. This is looking really unlikely. So the domestic double is once again in our sights, but who won the Ballon d'Or? Well, once again, it was Kylian Mbappe, and we aren't even getting players nominated. However, with a bit of luck, that could all change, because look at this. With 1 game remaining, we have been crowned champions of the Bundesliga for the 3rd time in a row, which I'm absolutely buzzing with. But we have another DFB Pokal final to get the domestic double done. This time we're against Leipzig, and we're also in the Champions League, and we are facing Bayern Munich in the final, which means PSG are not in the final, which also means Kylian Mbappe might not be up for another Ballon d'Or. Fingers crossed, if we manage to win the treble, we should have a player at least in the top 3, surely. First things first, we have to make sure we win the DFB Pokal, and we had to come from behind to do so, but thankfully, Arda Güler and Bjorn Marinov scored the much-needed goals for us to lift the trophy. And we finally complete the domestic double challenge. And now with our only remaining challenge being the Ballon d'Or, this Champions League final could be more important than what we actually expect it to be, because winning the Champions League could mean that one of our players might have a chance at lifting the Ballon d'Or. After all, they have done then a treble and dominated the country that they're in. Surely. Well, we got to win it first, and although Munich have dropped off the pace in the Bundesliga this season, they have already beaten me in the league phase of the Champions League this campaign, so they are not to be taken for granted. Although, on the day, that did not look like the Bayern Munich team, as we absolutely destroyed them in this Champions League final. By halftime, it was 2-0, and we came out and scored another soon after, and capped off a memorable night for Leverkusen with a 4th in the 86th minute by Darvic. And we've done even better than I thought, and not only completed the domestic double, but the treble as well. But as we lift the trophy, all I can think is surely we have a player in contention for that Ballon d'Or. I think my biggest concern is that I don't necessarily have a standout player. As you can see by the goals, they are very much spread out across different players, the assist-wise and average rating. Again, nobody's like an 8, and there's loads of different options that could win it, but because there's so many different options, one might not even get noticed. Arda Güler could be a potential one. He's got 19 goals and 20 assists in a very good Bundesliga season, but he didn't necessarily stand out in that Champions League final. Guess we'll just have to wait and find out. Bit like Season 9 summer, in Season 10 I targeted one player in Enrique, who gives us better options from the bench in defence. And the only player on the outs was João Gomez, who was getting limited minutes off the bench himself. And that's because our midfield now is absolutely insane, and I can't really pick a weakness in our side now. I mean, we've got Pingel back from on loan at Chelsea last season, and look how good he's developed as well, the 21-year-old. He played 34 times for Chelsea last season and had a decent season at that. Udraogo still here, going strong, age 26, as is Naipan, age 25. And of course, Ronio, who we highlighted last season, is a monster now in CDM. Just off the bench alone, we've got Arda Güler, and yet he was our best player last season, and Darvic, who is still fantastic in both natural positions that we are using. Our squad depth is insane. Enrique's even gone to right back. But was last season good enough for a player from Leverkusen to lift the Ballon d'Or? And no, Kylian Mbappe won it for a 3rd time in a row and a 6th time in total. However, don't go anywhere just yet because this is only the 9th winner of the video so far. Meaning that we've got one last crack at it after Season 10 ends when they actually announce the Ballon d'Or winner from Season number 10. So we just need to have another perfect season, I guess. I don't understand why Kylian Mbappe won it. PSG didn't really do anything special. We won the Champions League. So we crack on with the rest of our season and do the best we can. And we win the Bundesliga once again, even though we're on the same points as Dortmund. We're still the winners. 75 points though is a lot less. We're still the winners. We also got the domestic double done once again with a win in the DFB Pokal final over Bayern Munich 4-3 after just 90 minutes. And we somehow got all the way to the Champions League final and won back-to-back trebles. Yes, beating Tottenham Hotspur in the final 3-1, and yet I still don't think we'll win a Ballon d'Or because, again, nobody really stands out there as a leader, I guess, in terms of performance. Everybody's just done really well. So I've got a feeling when I get to the Ballon d'Or ceremony, one of our players won't be called out to win it. And so, with the team's trophy cabinet full, we await the winner of the Ballon d'Or. Simone Profundi won the Ballon d'Or from Bayern Munich. That's our former player, our biggest rival, who have won a trophy in the last 2 seasons. Because we beat them in every competition. I don't understand how they've managed to do this. Okay, he's had a great season. 20 goals, 14 assists, a really high average rating. But they've won nothing. They've won nothing. And we've won back-to-back trebles. So, our 10 seasons at Leverkusen ultimately ends in very controversial failure because we have failed to win a Ballon d'Or with one of our players. And that's a shame. But what we have done is a domestic double at least twice. We, of course, won multiple European trophies, and we sold a player for over £100 million. This save game file, by the way, as it is right now, will be available on the YouTube channel. Members, you can just press join and you can sign up and get the save game file, as well as the patreon.com/MakeLukeGaming. You also get podcasts from me and Dad and other save game files for you to enjoy. But make sure you check out the merchandise shop down below to get your DBJ and Omega Luke, the VC t-shirt if you wish. And as you can see from my change of clothes again, this video takes a while. So if you can, make sure you are subscribed and even drop it a like. I would really, really appreciate it. Thank you very much. And if you did enjoy this one, check out the Manchester United 10 seasons there because we put some challenges together. And I think you'll really enjoy that one as well.